has the offseason, gets this extension. He's in the rotation, folks. He's in the rotation. So this is the fun part. I do not think the Rays should do anything about that rotation right now.
Okay.
No. As a Rays fan, I have seen enough Rays starters go down right before spring training, go down in the first week of spring training.
Going into spring training and then after that, you can't just roll in with 5 guys, even if it's the 5 best starters in baseball, because in this day and age, somebody or more than somebody is going to get hurt or go down for a spell.
You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into Locked On Rays, your daily podcast covering everything Tampa Bay Rays, from game analysis to player interviews. We've got you covered with all the latest news and insights. My name is Kevin Weiss.
I'm Ulysses Zambrano,
bringing you expert analysis and passionate discussions about our beloved Rays.
Whether you're a diehard fan who vividly remembers Longo's Game 162 just like us,
or you remember the early Double Ray days of Wade Boggs or Carl Crawford,
we're here to break down every play, every trade, and every milestone, including stadium deals. In fact, this is our 6th season covering the Rays daily.
In every season up till 2024 that we've covered this team, they've gone to the playoffs, but you can still grab your favorite Rays gear, settle in, and subscribe to our Locked On Rays YouTube channel and other podcast platforms. You can also find us on the X and Instagram at Locked On Rays.
This episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Guess who didn't need the Locked On MLB code when he extended right-hander Drew Rasmussen?
I'm guessing that would be one Stu Sternberg, correct?
That would be Stu. He was like, you know what? I don't need no redeem code. All right, I'll pay with my own money. Yeah. Okay, and Drew Rasmussen is going to be a Ray for the next 2.5 years, possibly.
We'll see. There are not many Rays players that ink contract extensions and then stay with the franchise through the entirety of that. But good for Drew, good for the Rays on locking him up for the next couple of years and then buying out the 2027 season, which would be effectively his first year of free agency. So this is an interesting deal in the sense of he's going to get $2 million this year, $5.5 million next year, which is 2026. And then there's an $8 million option for 2027. That is the year that he would be a free agent. That could bump to as much as $20 million. There's also a $500,000 buyout. So there are a slew of escalator clauses based on health in innings pitched. And the Rays also don't have to deal with the whole arbitration situation with Rasmussen. That gets out of the way. So it's a win from that perspective. It's also a win for Drew Rasmussen because he gets those millions, guaranteed millions. As Evan Longoria once said back a long time ago, never say no to your first millions. And this is a prime example of that. God, for a guy that's had as many surgeries and elbow and arm issues, this is the type of deal that you could coax him and his agent to sign. And if he stays healthy, God willing, then he can make a lot more money throughout the course of all this.
3 elbow surgeries. Yeah, you say yes to a deal like that. And if you're the Rays, you're like, dude, the guy came stronger than he had ever done before.
Yes.
So maybe this would be a great idea. I think it's just both parties hopefully get everything they want out of this. Right. Yes, it's $8 million guaranteed, but those escalator clauses, I mean, that could bump up the deal for what, $28 million. So that awesome for Drew, awesome for the Rays to have done this. You mentioned the Longoria bit, which it's one of my all-time Rays lore that I most am fond of, because it just says so much about who these players are. Like, dude, they are very talented, but guess what? They're just like, they're human beings, dude.
Yes.
Like, and you can't get too far into the weeds of like, oh, I'm this guy, I'm that guy. Like, no, you don't know what will happen tomorrow. As some people would say, tomorrow never knows. So Hinsky, I want to play a little game with this. Okay. Hinsky tells Longoria about this, right? Longoria tells Archer about this. Archer tells Blake Snell about this. No, wait. Archer tells Kiermaier about this. Kiermaier tells Snell about this. Snell tells Glasnow. Glasnow tells McClanahan. McClanahan tells Rasmussen?
Perhaps, although Shane McClanahan hasn't agreed to an extension.
No, they did the 2-year.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah, I forgot. It's been we've had so many stadium episodes that I got lost track of extensions and actual on the field adjacent moves there. But yeah, it's
does that track? Do you think that's the way that the ladder goes, or if you guys have a different ladder, maybe put it on
6 degrees of Eric Hinsky, evidently. Exactly. I'll tell you what, even if I think at some point Rasmussen is going to return to a starter role, I would think it's only a matter of time. I know that the Rays, as present, have a pretty deep rotation, assuming that things get worked out with Zack Littell and he isn't traded and the other guys stay healthy. But we know that somebody's eventually going to go down and someone else is going to have to fill that void. But I think the Rays, even if he was only a reliever, either a multi-inning reliever or, hey, we want you to replace Pete Fairbanks down the line or be the best setup man in baseball, this deal is still going to pay for itself. The Rays are still going to get a lot of value out of that. And even more so, if he hits his escalators, that means that he's being a very, very valuable starter, because there's one thing about Drew Rasmussen, assuming health, he is going to dominate and he is going to be consistent. I mean, since he arrived from the Rays to the Rays from the Brewers in the, believe it or not, Willie Adames deal, things have changed a lot since then, for better or worse. You look at a guy that he's going to deliver you a sub-3 ERA, no matter what, whether he's a reliever or a starter, and he's going to give you command. He's going to give you control. Tied into that, he's not going to walk many guys. He's going to offer you a solid swinging strike rate, which eventually may matriculate into more Ks down the road than his numbers suggest. As of right now, he gets ground balls and he keeps the ball in the ballpark. And he's a gamer. He's a fighter. What's not to love about him? A guy that really, I don't know if anybody envisioned him to be a starter when he was acquired in that deal. And then, I mean, not to toot my own horn or pat my back, but after a couple outings, I was like, man, I know he's really only got 2 pitches, but he could do a Tyler Glasnow maneuver and weasel into a starter role, add a 3rd pitch and get rolling here, because he was so good from the jump with the Rays, where he had some ups and downs with the Brewers. And I know he's just getting started and coming back from elbow issues and things like that, but you really can't complain much about what Drew Rasmussen has delivered on the field for this organization.
I mean, if people were to doubt you, I can definitely say I remember that. I think we texted even about it, like, hey, man, this guy's really looking really good. And you're like, you know what? Why not put him as a starter? And boom, there you go. Stu hacked into your phone, told Neander and co., and then that's what happened. With Rasmussen getting this deal, I think the first thing that needs to be said is, although I agree with you that no matter if this man is in the bullpen or in the rotation, this deal would pay for itself. I 100% agree with that. However, I think it's a foregone conclusion. This man is in the rotation as of January 7th, 2025. He's in the rotation no matter what. Like, you don't sign this extension for a guy to like, yeah, I think he'll be a nice little side. Like, no, they've talked to him about it. There was some quotes there by Cash on the Top Gun article suggesting that if there's one guy that they can believe in with his work ethic to come back and be in the rotation, it would be him. They took it easy with him last year, coming back. 16 games, like you said, almost 29 innings, and he had like a 2.8 ERA. Like, I mean, he dominated, like you said.
Yeah.
He has the offseason, gets this extension. He's in the rotation, folks. He's in the rotation. So this is the fun part. Okay, well, who are the young studs that we saw last year that are going to be in the rotation? Shane Boss, Ryan Pepio, and Tosh Bradley. Remember, those are the three young guys. Okay, well, who's coming back? Well, Drew Rasmussen is coming back. Shane McClanahan's coming back. And, oh, wait, I forgot the best Rays starting pitcher that should be the opening day starter for 2025, Zack Littell. I do not think the Rays should do anything about that rotation right now.
Okay.
No. As a Rays fan, I have seen enough Rays starters go down right before spring training, go down in the first week of spring training, go down the first week of MLB games. Don't do anything. This is a good problem to have. This is a fantastic problem to have. 6 major league ready starters. Do not trade any of these guys. Do not move them. You keep them. You keep them together. Good environment. They know each other. They support each other. We've seen it through the Instagram posts when they were all hurt. They were all hanging out together. Do not do anything about this. You made a really good move by extending him. Do not dare think about trading Zack Littell or anybody else, because you need more than just 5 guys. Rays fans should have a PH bleeping D about pitcher injuries. You do not want to touch this rotation right now.
No, I'm with you. And we also forgot about Joe Boyle. He might ink his way into the rotation at some point if he can figure out how to throw strikes. But yeah, going into spring training and then after that, you can't just roll in with 5 guys, even if it's the 5 best starters in baseball, because in this day and age, somebody or more than somebody is going to get hurt or go down for a spell. But if I'm to check you on that, as far as the first run through of the rotation for 2025, it is time to tell you about Rocket Money. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bill so you can grow your savings. It brings everything together in one place, whether it's subscriptions, your spending habits, or even the goals you want to hit this year. Did you know that Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all of the app's premium features? That's why you need to go to Rocket Money. You can cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon, LOCKEDON today. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon. One more time for the audience in the back, rocketmoney.com/lockedon. You're under the impression that Drew Rasmussen is going to get the ball between the first 5 starts for the Rays. In other words, you have 5 guys, you have 6 guys, 7 if you want to count Joe Boyle, for 5 spots. So who gets left in the dust? Or do the Rays get creative with, all right, for the first couple weeks or first month plus of the season, let's do some tandem starts. Let's do some openers. Let's do a 6-man rotation. Or how do you see this playing out in this respect? If everybody is healthy, which is a big if, going into the first game of the regular season, that Bradley's available, Pepio's available, McClanahan's available, Boz, Littell, Rasmussen, so on and so forth.
I think if there was 1 year where you could do this 6-man rotation, it would be this one. It'd be this one. Like, you have 6 guys who can take the ball at any point, and you could see all of these guys being the number 1 starter for this team. At their best, they can be. They've all shown it. They've all at least shown flashes of it. Now, do I think they're going to do the 6-man rotation? No, probably not. Do I think that the 6 of them are going to be healthy come opening day? I can't put my hand on the fire. If anybody out there that's watching this and hit that like button, help us out. Thank you. If anybody out there thinks that they're for sure going to be healthy, my goodness, you are an optimist, and I love you for it, person. Don't change. I don't. I'm not that guy. I'm not going to just be blinded by happiness and rose-colored lenses. Like, we've seen enough injuries. So, having said that, in this perfect scenario where they're all healthy, I think you play around with the schedule, and hopefully get guys in a way that is not too disruptive to them, which would lead to a 6-man rotation. And the whole thing about 6-man rotation, which is why it's not used, it's because these guys are very strict on their program, on their throwing program, on their rest days. They have it down to a science. So to just add another day, it can be a little bit off-putting, especially if they've done it for years, right? Well, if I want to be a devil's advocate on my own argument on why 6-man rotation isn't going to work, well, Shane McClanahan is probably the most veteran pitcher in of these 6 guys, at least the one with the most
cachet.
Yes, with the most cachet. Thank you. Well, he's going to be taken care of. I don't see him crossing 150 innings in 2025, right? So you're going to have to take it slow with him. So does that mean that maybe you use him for 3 innings and then you can use a guy behind him as a piggyback?
That's what I would think. Something to that extent, without having to say that you have a 6-man rotation and, save an extra bullpen spot for flexibility. So I would think you tandem it up and get creative if and where you can. And we know that is the Rays calling card is being creative. But
now, if you, again, let's go deeper on this best case scenario, they're all healthy. The one thing that doesn't allow for guys to 6-man rotation is the veteran pitching, right? If you've got veterans, they're going to be like, no, I have my program. I'm not going to change it. Boss, Pepio, Taj, those are 3 very young cats. McClanahan coming back from injury. Rasmussen coming back from injury. Littell, not a huge veteran, not a rookie. He kind of fits right in the middle. So there's really not an established big Charlie Morton kind of presence where it's like, don't touch my throwing program. So I could see this being tried. I don't think so, but in this case scenario where we're looking at everything like possibility and that it's happening and everybody's healthy, the one thing that the Rays have in on their corner is their youth that could allow them to be a little malleable than other rotations.
Yeah, and you also have the voice of reason in Kyle Snyder, and I think that front office is good about being communicative and saying, getting the players on board. Hey, this is what's best for the team, and we're trying to make everybody happy to the best extent to win as many games as possible without sacrificing your future earnings potential. But I'll tell you what, I know it's a small sample size this past season. 16 games, 28 plus innings. But Drew Rasmussen picked up right where he left off previously this past season. And we didn't even really get a chance to talk about it that much because we were more so harping on how bad the Rays offense was and how they weren't winning enough games. But he quietly put together a 2.83 ERA, allowing 25 hits, no homers, and 6 walks while striking out 35. That's really good. I'm not saying he'd be able to extrapolate that and keep that up for 130, 140, 150 innings, but that is a really good base to build off of in 2025. And the reports are that he was actually throwing harder this past year than he did before the injury. Is that a byproduct of the surgery? Maybe. Is it a byproduct of, smaller sample size? You're only, going out there for 1-2+ innings instead of 5, 6, or 7, and you've got more juice in the tank for that short stint. That could be it too. But it's better to see a guy's velocity going up coming back from injury than going down, like we saw with Jeffrey Springs, which probably made the decision a little bit easier. And this was something of a consideration of we're comfortable. We're okay with banking on Drew Rasmussen over Jeffrey Springs and still, getting.
I love going to live events, whether it's sports, music, theater, or comedy. We just love it. And now Game Time has made it even easier to get your tickets to your favorite events with this new feature they have called Game Time Picks. This feature filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you do not have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. So guess what? That makes it easier for you to take the guesswork out of buying tickets using Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and use the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Kevin, what time is it?
It is game time. A trade worth making for Springs and getting the salary off the books. So
exactly.
The Rays really aren't. What's interesting about this deal, and we will have some comments from the listeners. I feel like the Rays aren't really outside of the free agency season that they get to buy up, and all the escalators in the contract. Like this year, it's 2 years, $8.5, $9 million guaranteed. He would get this in arbitration.
It's peanuts, bro. It's peanuts. I mean, the whole deal, if they don't even go through the option, it's less than they're paying Springs this year. Like, it's a fantastic deal for both parties. Like, you get your millions, Drew. Awesome for you and your family. And the Rays, if you have something here, you have a very talented righty on your rotation for the next 2 years.
Yeah, and they have some, I hate to say it, but some doing this extension boosts his trade value at the end of the day. Taking away that first year of free agency, if he's successful, that's going to have other teams licking their chops if the Rays want to cut bait at some point. And
can I say something?
Yeah.
This is Tyler Glasnow 2.0.
Yeah, exactly. That's where we're at. Or Jeffrey Springs 2.0. Like Snell 2.0.
He's going to be here for 2025. He's going to be here for 2026. And then the offseason of 2026 to 2027, when he could possibly make $20 million in escalators, the Rays are not going to be playing that game. Yeah. And they're going to shop him and they're going to trade him. So enjoy Drew Rasmussen for 2025 and 2026, and hopefully he does bleeping amazing. So then that return in the offseason between 26 and 27 is pretty damn rad.
Yeah, and you hope he puts together a season like he did in 2022, and you can get, I would think, a pretty respectable return for trading him, even if he's making X number of dollars. I mean, just based on what some of the pitchers have gotten in free agency, like middling pitchers, you don't even have to be really good. And you're still going to get 15, 20 million. It's crazy.
Frankie Montas got 17, 18 million dollars. Frankie Montas got 17, 18 million dollars a year.
No disrespect to these guys, but your boy Alex Cobb at 37 years old getting 15 mil. Justin Verlander at 42 years old getting 14 mil. Charlie Morton, 15. Who has the fountain of youth, and I will say has been very productive and healthy over the last several seasons with the Braves. Like he got a $15 million deal with the Orioles, and not to mention the multi-year deals that some of these guys are getting. So starting pitching is at a premium. And, if it takes it, okay, fine. So what? We'll trade him to the Dodgers. We'll trade him to the Mariners if you can get something decent in return. Hopefully by that point, the Rays will have enough pitching in the tank to trade for a bat or something, because that is still a missing piece for this team, which we'll have to get into at some point. We've been talking a lot of pitchers lately and not a lot of offensive upliftments, but this is a day that you should be happy if you're a Rays fan of. A guy who's put in work and gone through trials and tribulations. He gets millions of dollars to set up for himself and his family. It could wind up being a lot more than that. We know that he's going to be with the Rays for at least the next 2 seasons, and let's just hope he stays healthy.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
All right. Let's get to a couple comments on this reaction program with Drew Rasmussen signing an extension. Out on X, here's what we heard from the Sports Burst. This individual says, very happy about it. Ethan Broom says, can he hit the 4-hole? Not to my knowledge. I don't believe he can. That'd be nice if he could, though. 702, living, but always with the 813. He'll be gone in 18 months. Okay, so he does not see him being with the Rays in 2027. Frank says, good move for sure, but I wish they would actually have a lineup that could hit better than my nephew's T-ball team. Extremely concerned about the offense. Down by the river says, when he's healthy, his stuff is as good as anyone's. Chris Snyder says, awesome move. It clearly means he is in good health. And yes, as Down by the River said, Rasmussen has a really solid 4-seamer, a sinker to go with it, and a cutter, and an occasional sweeper. But it's mainly a 3-pitch mix there that we're working with.
No, it's going to be great to see him using that pitch mix the whole year. Hopefully he's able to just stay healthy, man, because if he does, I think this deal is a slam dunk.
God forbid, how many surgeries can you sustain before you just have to hang it up? I mean, the fact that he's come back after this many, technology and surgeons must have gotten really good over the years.
He's just legitimately saying. You remember that TV show in the 60s, the $6 million Man?
I was not born in the 60s, so I'm not familiar with that.
Well, people in the comments, hook me up. Do you guys remember the $6 million Man, the bionic guy? They fixed him.
He is bionic.
Yeah, that's what Drew Rasmussen is now after 3 elbow surgeries. It's nuts.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, just stay on the field. That's all we need. And again, the good thing about Ras is he's not going to give up home runs. He's going to keep the ball on the ground. So hopefully we don't have to, if he's on the mound for a good handful of innings, maybe you don't have to put up a 5 or 6 spot to win the game. Maybe if you can sneak 1 or 2 across, you might be able to get it done there. But good for him. And I'm sure we'll have more reaction in the future on this. But it literally happened just a couple hours ago. So we are reacting off the cuff here. Hopefully you all understand it and where we're coming from. And hopefully you enjoyed the episode. Coming up on Thursday and Friday, we have a fun treat for you all, a 2-part episode with, his name is Jim Williams. He is a 7-time Emmy Award winner in the television broadcast industry, sports television broadcast industry, and so many nuggets, insides, stories, and tales from working in the business and his thoughts on the Rays stadium issue. And I think folks are going to like that 2-part interview.
Yes, they are. It's going to be awesome. And a lot of behind the scenes information that people don't think about, that he lays it out pretty well. So you guys are going to enjoy that.
In the meantime, we hope you all have a wonderful day. Stay safe, and we will talk to you tomorrow.